Welcome back to SaharaTV. So, remember Sex in the City, right? It was cool, right? Well, forget about that for now because there is now an African city. Yes, it's an online show that follows 5 African female friends who have, I think, all returned to Ghana from abroad, and it's pretty much about all the things that they go through as an African woman in Ghana. They talk about sex, oh my God, I said sex, men, dating, work, food, everything, you know? Anyway, I am very happy to have in our studios right now the creator and executive producer of that series, Miss Nicole Amarteifio and Millie Monyo. All right, so I have right here is Miss Nicole Amarteifio. She is the creator behind An African City, and Miss Millie Monyo. Yes. She is the executive producer, and let's just get straight to it. You guys know An African City. Nicole, Millie, how did you guys come together to create this, especially Nicole having a development background? How did this all happen?
Yeah, I have a background in development. I've been in the development industry for quite some time now. But I realized that when it came to the African woman, we were always focusing on poverty. And so I just thought, I want another side of the African woman. I want another story of the African woman. And then, by chance, just watching reruns of Sex in the City, I said, that's my answer. That's another side of the African woman, the African version of Sex in the City.
Mm-hmm. So, Millie, maybe you can talk about like how we
came together. Of course. So we had a mutual friend that was a member of an organization that Nicole's a member of, and she connected us. And Nicole and I met, and there was just a synergy there. We just connected, and I saw the pilot that she had shot well before I met her. I loved it. I wanted to get on board. I knew that we would join forces, and then as soon as we started talking about it, we decided to become business partners and work on the project.
Fantastic. But Nicole, okay, so you have a background in development, and then you transition into film. Have you, before this, had you ever picked up a camera and shot anything? Like, how did that come together?
Well, I think that's the thing. Being in development, I handle communications for different development agencies. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, when you're handling communications for any organization, video production is part of it. Mm-hmm. And so I started learning more about video production, and then video production led me to ask more and more questions about film.
Fantastic. Well, it worked because it is a great series. All right, so An African City, the characters are 5 beautiful, fancy, well-dressed women, you know, who I definitely relate to. I would definitely want to know, you know, how did you come up with the characters? You know, were there people in your lives that sort of inspired these characters? Or do you even see yourself, you know, and one of these girls? Even you, Millie.
Definitely. You know, Nicole's in there for sure.
So I would love to hear how that process came together.
It's a little bit of everything. I mean, so once again, I don't have a traditional background in film. So my teacher was really watching reruns of Sex and the City, and my teacher was really watching the director cuts and you know, cuts from the writers of the show, etc. So yeah, I just said, let me start this off simple. Let me look at the 4 girls that are actually in the original Sex and the City, and what are the Ghanaian versions of those girls? What are the Nigerian versions of the girls? What are the Kenyan versions of these girls? And let me take it from there. And then as I started writing more and more, yeah, each character has a little piece of me.
Okay.
And then certainly has pieces of different women I know.
Great.
It's just one of those things that you have to know, that you can't tell Nicole's story without knowing that it might possibly end up in a script.
Exactly.
But it is interesting to see things that happen in your own life acted out by people, and it's just fun to laugh at. You can see in some of the episodes we say these are true events because it happens. Mm-hmm. Some of the things actually really did happen to people.
Wow.
The majority of the show actually is.
So the stories are like exact. They're really true.
I mean, there's probably some that are a bit exaggerated, but really, I mean, these are true stories of women we know sitting in Kigali, sitting in Nairobi, sitting in Lagos, sitting in Accra. I mean, these are Joburg, Cape Town. I mean, they really are true stories.
I can definitely see these things happening to me right here too.
I'm sure you can relate. I'm sure.
Yes. So, Millie, as executive producer, can you talk a little bit about what you do on set or what you have done?
Well, with this particular project, everything. You I mean, you
Wear
can't
plenty hats.
you can't name something because this is our first project. Nicole and I came together and said, we really want to make this happen in Ghana. So we decided to work with the local crew. So anything from actually some days having to pick up food to actually painting the nails of some of our cast members. I mean, it was anything and everything. We needed to just really pitch in and do everything. But in terms of an executive producer, obviously it's making the production schedule, making sure that we're on time, making sure that the locations are clear, all that stuff that just goes into making a production work.
Very nice. And you already had a background in.
I had a little bit of a background in TV. I'd never done it on my own. I'd always worked with a larger organization, so it was definitely daunting to take it on as a task on my own. But Nicole was able to. We were able to work together as partners and figure it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to know about the initial creative process from the both of you guys, and what was that? I guess for you, Nicole, what was that moment like for you when you were creating? What sort of period were you in that helped you birth these ideas, or was it something that was just a natural thing?
So yes, it's the African version of Sex and the City. However, we're taking it from the viewpoint of a returnee. And I've returned to Ghana. I mean, I was born in Ghana but raised in the United States, and now I've returned to Ghana. So yeah, it was that part of me that had all these stories to share as a returnee, and that process of self-discovery and self-identity. So yeah, that was the place I was in. And then of course, dating. Then it kind of, writing became therapeutic.
We need that. And maybe you want to respond to that as well.
I mean, the fact that it was the story of the returnee, that's definitely something that drew me to the show, because that was my story in a sense as well. I returned at one point to Ghana. I said, I'm ready to live here. I actually was dating someone that was in Ghana, so I said, I could live here and be with my boyfriend in Ghana. And then it just wasn't working out for me. I commend Nicole, because Nicole was able to make it work for her. She's still there. I'm back and forth. I'm still debating. Ghana feels like home, but I almost have to also call New York my second home. And
I understand. I totally understand.
I'm working on it.
So you guys have had a lot of success. People are talking about it. Your views are really reaching high numbers. And I want to know, did you guys anticipate any of this, and how are you responding to that success? All of the attention, how are you responding to it, both of you?
I was not expecting it. This actually was just a pilot season. This was a rough draft. This was what we were going to use
the rough draft?
Rough draft. It's our first time. Let's just put something on YouTube and use this content to then approach TV networks. Because without the content, TV networks weren't really understanding my vision. So I just said, let's put something on YouTube, get a few thousand hits per episode, but then use it to exactly. I was not expecting all these media outlets to call, and I didn't expect it to get this big, but it really just shows that there was a thirst for this kind of content and a thirst for this kind of visual of the African woman.
Right.
Definitely. I mean, instantly when I heard about the idea, I told Nicole, I said, this is going to be huge. I said it to her numerous times. I said to her on her birthday, this little show that you think we're working on is going to be huge. Yeah. And she's just kind of like, yeah, I know. I think it'll be fine. And, I think she was just very humble about it. But even after reading the script, and actually you would see it in the table read when we had all the actors in the room with, the whole crew. They read it, they were laughing, they just felt it, and everybody felt a connection to it where they were taking ownership of her words. And it was amazing to see, because it's amazing to see Nicole see the success of this and just see, I can't imagine how much it's grown, and I think it's just going to continue to grow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned actors and the actors meeting together. How did you guys work together in finding the actors? And I also want to talk about, just to bring these two together, filming in Ghana and the challenges you guys face. So the actors and challenges.
Okay. Well, we had auditions. We had auditions in New York targeting African actresses. And then we had another audition in Ghana.
Nice.
So that's how we found our cast. Monyo Wafa, who plays the Carrie of the show, or Nania, she was the first to walk into the audition room. And as soon as she was done reading, I turned to the team and I said, yeah, we've got something good here. This is going to be a good thing. And that's how we found our cast.
Yeah.
So maybe you could speak towards
To the challenges
of filming in Ghana.
To be honest, I mean, I don't think we faced any challenges that aren't challenges that you face making any production.
Right.
You know, making sure that you have things in place, locations. You know, things can fall out, and you're just kind of scrambling, trying to figure out how to get it done. It's, you know, but that happens
major.
everywhere. No, nothing major. And actually, we were very impressed by what Ghana has to offer.
Right.
To be honest, Ghana is on the same level as a South Africa or Nigeria. And before that, I would think that you could only go to those countries to make something like our show.
Very nice.
So
okay, so I know that you said that this was supposed to be the draft, right? But it's way more than that now, and we all see that. But I actually want to know, like, you know, looking at it now, you know, what sort of, I guess, you know, style or genre do you see the series fitting into? Like you know, sometimes I'll play it a little bit, and I'll hear some, I guess these are Ghanaian artists, the music, and I'm like, oh, Gollywood, Nollywood, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But where do you see this sort of fitting into, or is it just an independent thing that is sort of separate, you know?
Really?
I thought you would take that question, but you know, I think our show separates itself in the sense that we're trying to speak to something that you don't see.
So it's new.
Yeah, it's a completely new, fresh perspective that we're trying to put out there that you haven't seen before. We're not using the same faces. We definitely came with a different perspective on what we wanted to show. Gollywood, Nollywood, successful, and African City, successful. I think we're all kind of just trying to do what we can to build up the continent in general.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's next? I know this was the draft, you know, but hey, it's good. You guys see it. So, are you guys in writing for what is it? Season 2?
We're hoping for season 2. It all comes down to
gonna happen.
Funding. It all comes down to funding. You know, if we get the right funding, the right investors, if the right TV network gives us the right kind of negotiation, then yeah, we're definitely looking for a season 2.
Absolutely. And speaking of funding, how was funding for season 1? What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was a lot of it was my savings, but the way I saw it, I needed to get this done, and then certainly some family and friends who gave money to the project as well because they believed in it as well.
Nice.
But it was just that important for me to get this done that if it was my own funding, whatever, let's just get this done.
Exactly.
Yeah. And just speaking of people giving to the project, we know that you guys have collaborated with musicians, designers, and whoever else. Like, how did that sort of come about? Was it something that you pitched, or did people it kind of trickle in, you know?
That was part of the vision of the show. I wanted a TV project that was just not about TV, but it was a platform for all creatives. So if you were a musician, if you were a fashion designer, it was to showcase their work. Because there's a lot of talent on the continent. There's talent, African musicians. We didn't get our musicians from New York or LA.
Nice.
We got it from Accra, Ghana. We got it from Kampala, Uganda. You know, the fashion designers as well. These are young, talented African female.
Yes, and those clothes are fly. Right? Every time I watch it, I'm like, what is she wearing? Oh, I want that. You know, I'm always into that. So anyway, and the music also, it all looks really, really good.
So everything, I mean, there are even some art that you'll see on the wall of some of the girls' bedrooms, and those are African artists that we wanted to showcase their work. So everything, if you're creative, we wanted to showcase your work.
Great.
And show what Africa has to offer.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, okay, so I know we mentioned that, you know, you're looking to get into, or maybe a TV, or get a TV station and pick it up. But give us a little bit on what we can expect for season 2. You know what I'm saying? Is it going to just be more powerful? You guys are going to be speaking about even, you know, deeper things? I don't know.
In terms of writing, Nicole would, of course, be able to speak to that. But I could just say, as far as the fashion, as far as the sets, as far as locations, it's just going to be bigger and better. I mean, we're definitely going to take it to the next level. As she said, this was a rough draft, so we're definitely going to make this the masterpiece of season 2. And that's what we're looking
you guys
for.
are saying rough draft. background. That's amazing.
And I'll follow up on what Millie said, certainly bigger and better. Already we have African female writers around the world who want to guest write an episode. We have directors, African directors around the world who say they like to guest direct an episode. So it's certainly going to be bigger and better. And then we've also listened to the viewers. I mean, there's a lot of commentary on YouTube. There's a lot of blogs out there. And we try to learn from the constructive criticism. So even that will make a better season 2.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Well, wow, guys, I'm really, really, really impressed, and I'm absolutely inspired by what you guys are doing. And
maybe we'll have a role for you.
I know. Come on down.
SaharaTV girl, the journalist, right?
Yes, you can be interviewing them. Of course.
And I would sure love to start in it, so don't forget. So, viewers, thank you so much for watching. That has been Miss Nicole Amarteifio. She is the creator of the new hot web series and African City. Think Sex in the City, but African ladies. And Miss Millie Monyo, she is the executive producer on the film. You guys, if you're not watching an African City, I'm not sure what you're doing, because you're really missing out, and I'm not even kidding. So make sure you're watching it, and stay tuned. We have so much more coming up. So check out the very first episode of An African City from season 1 called The Return.
There are 7 billion people in the world. Every once in a while, one of those people find his or her way home.
Hello?
Madam, the line for the non-Ghanaians is at the other side.
Yeah, I know. I'm Ghanaian.
Huh? You're a Ghanaian? You don't sound like a Ghanaian.
You see? Me a Ghanaian.
Oh, you're Ghanaian. Hey!
Midase?
The struggle of these young Africans.